Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the charts for Ethereum, taking a look at what's been going on most recently and what I would expect to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. It really helps spread the content to like-minded individuals. And of course, you know, if you are new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And you know, if you are looking for more from the crypto space, why not check out the Discord? Link is in a description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there, so why not go ahead and check it out today. And of course in the description below you'll find links to our new podcast as well, so if you're driving to work and you're looking for something a little bit more crypto related rather than boring music, then why not go ahead and check that out as well, as yeah, it gives us an interesting take on the crypto space, so why not check it out. Okay guys, let's waste no more time though. Let's jump right down into this, right? So Ethereum paired up with USDT, okay, on the hourly chart, and Binance is the data source. So as we were talking about yesterday, there are some pretty bearish scenarios for Ethereum, right, taking it down. There's no guarantee that they'll play out, but they are obvious and they are there and we should acknowledge them. Now, basically, we've actually seen a bit of a bump to the upside. This isn't unusual considering the macro outlook, but basically we've had here a bit of a push of 35.4. Okay, so you know, essentially we pulled back down pretty significantly. When you pull back significantly, you have to have some kind of relief bounce. Now, this actually happened a little bit earlier than expected. I was expecting us to come down a little bit more towards our 810 before we'd actually start a bigger move to the upside. So it's unusual, but that being said, you know, it's not impossible. Nothing is impossible, so we have to acknowledge it is what it is. But do be aware that I wasn't expecting this to happen as early, and it doesn't really make too much of a difference, but it does kind of put us in a slightly more bearish scenario because it allows for resets to happen at a slightly earlier stage. And so yeah, so we'll be aware of that, but nonetheless, let's actually go ahead and take a look what's going on here. So very similar to Bitcoin, we do have a odd kind of 5-wave structure, not completely odd in the way that you would expect, but we invalidated any 5-wave move on a macro scale, I'll say on a second degree level, to the downside, right, which was indicating about $810. So I will actually now remove these because they are, you know, irrelevant. We actually had a corrective structure instead that finished this little 5th wave just down here. Okay, but it is what it is, and actually it landed on our original kind of lows, which was about 885. You know, but we went with a 535 corrective pattern rather than an impulsive 5-wave structure. But nonetheless, it is what it is. And then of course we're moving back up. Now here we do see we have a 5-wave structure in itself as well, okay, and we can kind of park it here. Now this again, it is not ideal, and there's multiple different ways of looking at this, and the reasoning is that actually we haven't reached the standard kind of levels of what we would expect. We kind of just barely broke that 5th wave into a 1.236 before breaking back down. Now this actually is indicating that, yeah, okay, we can hit these 5-wave moves, but they're not really strong 5-wave moves, okay? And if we throw the volume in, and I'll kind of try to illustrate this a little bit, right? So basically, we have this move go into the upside, right? And whilst we're moving that price up, what we're doing is we're decreasing the volume, which basically tells us that there isn't really an impulsive structure. It is actually a corrective structure, because there isn't a lot of momentum behind that price, right? There isn't a lot of I guess like a lot of volume being pushed in to drive those kind of patterns. So yes, it's a 5-wave structure. A 5-wave structure is normally impulsive in its nature. Okay, when we say impulsive, it's normally a trend setter. So normally it's a trend to the upside that is being seen. But with volume going down like this whilst price is going up, you could look at that as a divergence. And essentially what it's doing is it's actually telling you that something else is going on here. It's not what you think it is. And again, you might want to think of this as a bear flag. You might want to think of it as many other kind of patterns that are lots of different ways of being articulated in the space. But for my purposes, using Elliott wave theory, we are actually going to acknowledge this as a zigzag pattern. Okay, and a zigzag pattern, it means that we're almost halfway through it. we've got more room to the upside. So as I was talking about yesterday, we're really looking for a surge up towards about $1,500. Okay, so let me turn the volume off here. And then what we'll do is we're going to throw on our WXY. So here's our W wave just coming down. We might have a little bit more room to the downside. Don't really know just yet. Then there'll be a bounce. Then there'll be another pullback to the downside. Okay, so this will then complete a three-wave structure. Now, it is possible that we completed the three-wave structure just inside here, like that. Okay, that is possible. And, you know, for the scale of it, maybe that is what happens, okay? It's a little bit too hard to know right now until we start seeing the next move up as to whether or not we've got the momentum for it. But if I zoom in on this, and I'll try to make this as clear as I can for you guys, okay? So with this pattern, let me remove the macro version of that, right? So we end up with this. And if I take this little area, okay, from that low to that high, and I move it over to that little mini bounce that's right there, here we could see we could come down to about $1,064, right? And that could complete this little move like this, and I do think that is going to do that, right? And if I come at here, we can take a look. We're oversold on our hourly chart, right? We have been for this entire move pretty much. Okay, the 4 hourly is now entering the oversold area, so we could have that little bit more room to the downside there, just finishing that off, taking us down into the oversold area, and then we can move back up. Now, what's not known just yet is whether or not the move up is going to be another 5-wave structure, or whether or not it's just going to be a small bounce, right? Because what we could be looking for here is this move down, a bounce, and then a further move down. Okay, that would actually complete a 3-wave structure, and it'd just be a little bit larger than what we've already seen. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking is possible. But again, you know, until we actually start to see that move up, we don't know how for sure whether or not we're going to pull back a little bit more before we actually start that move. Now, if I come down to this this hourly chart for a second, and I go ahead and throw the Bollinger Bands on, you can see that we're testing this lower band, so a bounce is very, very likely, right? We're going to move on up here. We take a look at the 4 hourly, same scenario, right? We're testing that lower band. We're looking for, actually, no, we're testing the middle band. So we could come all the way down, a bounce up, and then a pull back down, and then we test the lower band on the 4 hourly. The 8 hourly, of course, we are just losing that middle band right there, so we could potentially pull back and test the lower band as well. So we could have a much deeper correction here that we you know, might not yet be witness to, but essentially, yeah, we could be then just once we have that in and we actually test those lows, move on up into finishing the zigzag pattern. So if I bring this back to our hourly chart and then I bring this in, right, so we have that 5-wave move, we have a 3-wave move, and I am inclined to think that based on the stochastic RSI, etc., that what we have here is going to be a kind of move that will look something probably similar to, we find the resistance line, it's going to be about here. So that would actually come in at about the $1,100 range, and then we pull back down. Now, if I were to take that a measurement and I were to take it from that low just here up to that high, that retracement, that resistance is going to be found somewhere actually on that 50% level. I think, yeah, 50% level is pretty much actually a pretty good place for that, right there. And then, of course, you know, we move this over, we would potentially be looking at completing this zigzag at about $1,000. And if we take a look at the 1,000, yeah, there's a lot of support to potentially be found in there as well. So yeah, that could be an area that we then actually start to see the zigzag. But again, this is a lot of speculation because we just don't know for sure just yet. But again, what we'll do is we'll take this entire move of our 5-wave structure to complete our zigzag, move that over to the $1,000 low, okay? And then from here, what we'll do is we'll just adjust this up a little bit. Actually, it goes up to 1,300, so it's not even reaching that 1,500 level that we needed on our macro scale, but it could be something of significance nonetheless. Now, if I zoom on out and just pull this back down, what I'll do is I'll just remove those Bollinger Bands there, and I will remove some of these. Okay, there we go. So that again gives us a bit of an idea, gives us a bit of a flavor as to what this whole move might look like, okay? So we have 5 waves going up, they're complete. We're looking for 3 waves to come down. Maybe we'll test the $1,000 range, and then we'll look for 5-wave structure to the upside, okay? And essentially what you'll get there would be then completing the move on the macro. So if I come up into our weekly, bring this down, you know, we were talking about $1,500. Now, if that's not the case, and we only move up to, let's say, that 1,300, that does change our downward directional move ever so slightly, somewhere between $800 and $665, right? So there's a little bit of potential there to still kind of, be in that kind of $600 range. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to kind of see how that plays out. But basically what I'm thinking is going on was we're inside this fourth wave move now, and depending on how high this fourth wave goes will change how low that fifth wave down will also go. So yeah, I would say that there's a lot of room to the downside to be had for Ethereum. It's definitely pretty bearish on the kind of the macro outlook here, and again, more room to the downside is highly likely. Of course, invalidation for all of these downward moves comes in at 2,159. Go higher than that and this would invalidate the fifth wave going down lower. Doesn't mean that you can't go down lower, it just means that a different structure would be responsible for it. It would means that this wouldn't be the structure that would do that, and we'd have to analyze new structures and see what's going on. But for the most part, we are looking at downward price action unless that is invalidated, and at the moment it does look like we are probably going to be somewhere between $600 and $800 on that final fifth wave low. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found this useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.